This channel is supported by TrueFire. TrueFire is an online library of lessons from some of my favourite players. There's thousands of lessons on there. You can use the promo code JNC40 to get 40% off of any of their courses. Okay, I got sent an email by Charlie, who's a Patreon member, and then a mixer, and then some EQ. So we've got three. The idea for this video came from Herfner, who suggested, why don't you do the occasional video kind of reacting to folks' presets, in the, I guess, hope that maybe something is interesting about this to someone else. I'm not presenting myself as an expert. I've made a lot of Helix presets, I've made a lot of mistakes, but I don't know, it's just kind of fun. Right, so what we got here, this is going to work on a full Helix or Helix native, as you can see here, but not on an HX stomp because you've got this path here running down to this path, so you need two processors essentially for that. So we've got 1 amp, which is the Line 6 Aristocrat, which is the new Dumble style amp in the Helix, kind of taking off from basically the litigator. This was created for the Line 6 Catalyst. Then we get 2 cabs here with a split AB, and then a mixer, and then some snapshots. Clean is where we start. Now I'm playing a PRS. I think Charlie did say that he actually uses the pad on his Helix, so potentially he might end up getting things a bit cleaner than that. But that's definitely, I would say, okay, so we got basically all that's going on here, a volume into the front of the amp. Channel 1 drivers at 6, bass at 5.4, mids at 5.5, treble at 4.7, presence at 3, channel volume at 6, and the boost is off, and then everything else is set to your normal stuff. Then we're going into a spring reverb, the legacy spring reverb. Decay here set at 3.3. Fairly high mix, 31%. But quite a natural sounding thing. And then, cab-wise, he's gone here with a 1x12 US Deluxe. Now, that is getting 25% of the signal. And then this cab here, a 121 ribbon, no high cuts. That one's getting 75% of the signal. Then we go into an EQ. It looks like the EQ is dropping frequency. Okay, so we're dropping the low end a little bit and up in the highs very slightly. Then we've got transistor tape, not on for this. Got the cave and a parametric EQ, which is doing a bit of high cut here. So that's a bit more of an aggressive high cut than in the cab. So is that all we're using the parametric for? I think so. Okay, that probably is not making a huge difference then. I think we're doing a bit of low cutting as well. Okay, and then at the end we got an LA Studio comp. Which will be squishing things up a bit. Okay, then pushed. Okay, which adds on a kinky boost with bright switch on and drive at 3, and then we have our channel drive at pushed up to 7 here, and the boost push up to 2.5. So we're boosting in 2 places for that, and we bring on the transistor tape. This is one thing that I would do. For me personally, I think I want the delays to be definitely clean. And I might also do this. Something like this, just so that for me, then the delay is not up the center of the stereo field. It goes to the sides, which to me so at least it gives me a little bit of space. And cranking kicking on an Alpaca Rouge, which is the red llama, right? Drive at 3.4, high cut at 5, level at 7. I would also introduce a gate for that personally, if I'm having that level of gain. My hands are so cold. So that's kicking on the red llama and the kinky boost and a clon, right? Okay, what this low high shelf is doing kind of just twisting things to be a little bit brighter, right? A bit more, or less muffled, however you want to think about it. And then that EQ there is kind of neatening out the top end. That might not be needed. You could equally do something in the cab section like this, which would have a bit of a softer. Basically, there's an argument to use the high cut in the cab if you want a little bit of a less aggressive slope. It's a -6 dB per octave slope in the cab, whereas in this EQ section, it's -12 dB per octave, so a bit more aggressive. What does this mod do? I think there are a few people that even own Dumbles that watch the channel. Wayne, I'm looking at you. Carlos, I think possibly you might even be watching occasionally. And there's a chap in Germany who's reached out and said he's got a couple of them. I think the Dumble thing is one of those amps which actually they're used in such a multitude of ways. You know, it might be someone like Mayer who's mostly using them as a clean thing, or you've got people like Robin Ford who are using it in different ways throughout his career now as sort of a pedal platform, but you know, back in the 80s using it as you know, the full channel switching thing, and at times using quite a lot of gain. You know, there's just so much you can do with these amps. I might not use that Cave, if I'm totally honest. That might not be my first choice. I really like the Glitz, actually, for a kind of blooming style. Reverb that kind of gets out of the way a little bit. I think I have it more like this. If we turn this mix down, it's behaving quite nicely with that PRS. So I quite like the idea here of having that US Deluxe blended in that way, sort of gently. That 57 the idea of that was to bring in a little bit more high end. If we got rid of that, yeah, I dig that. Definitely, I would need a gate on for the higher gain stuff. Things that I've not really used before. The Red Llama, I've never really checked that out too much. The Kinky Boost, again, I've not tried that out too much. And the Clon, I don't tend to use either, so that's interesting for me. The Aristocrat, new to most of us, I think, so still getting some good stuff out of that. The Cave, I've never really used. I think I would go for one of the more modern reverbs. And the Transistor Tape, as I say, I probably would chuck that headroom up full. And for me personally, if I'm using it at home, I'd go for having that scale sort of 95, 97, something like that, so that you can get it out of the stereo. And I don't know if personally I prefer the sound of that without that boost on the amp on. But really cool to see the chunkier side of the Dumble kind of thing. Cheers, Charlie, for sending that one through. I'm going to film an intro with it now, but it's interesting to see how you guys are building presets. That, for me, the main difference I would be doing is using a gate up front, especially if I'm using it in native mode like this, just because otherwise you get a lot of sound happening like that. But, yeah, really enjoyed that, and thanks for sending that through. Again, I don't know that I love some of the boosts on the Catalyst amps either. So if I'm just using these pedals up front like this, I'd probably just stick to them so that I've got a bit more tweakability. But sounding really good, Charlie, and I'll catch you all in another video soon. Cheers for now.